This is a Protos podcast. It took Bennett and I a significant amount of time, in fact, 4 episodes of an investigative podcast, to realize that we had absolutely no ending for our story. Since that time, we've stumbled upon an ending, and I'm proud of it. But to get there, let's review just how far we've come. Blockchains LLC, a company founded by a newly minted cryptocurrency centimillionaire named Jeffrey Berns, purchased a massive plot of land in the middle of the Nevada desert back in 2018. While this land already had significant federal incentives attached to it by an Obama-era policy called Opportunity Zones, Mr. Berns tried to pass further state incentives that he termed innovation zones. The most fascinating part of the innovation zone legislation was that it hoped to carve out a new county within Storey County, Nevada, to not only separate it from surrounding counties, but to provide the company and residents with more autonomy. Unfortunately for Berns and Blockchains LLC, the public, the people of Washoe and Storey counties, are clearly invested in what happens with the innovation zone.
Good morning, Sherry Whalen, TRI, General Improvement District.
My name is Maria Teresa Lieberman.
Eileen Gay. My husband and I are Painted Rock residents in Storey County, where the Blockchain Innovation Zone development is proposed.
It's that generally this is insulting to all of Nevada's local governments, and
we're extremely disappointed to realize that, without exception, the language that we had previously discussed with blockchain was uniformly excluded from the
to allow
BDR.
A developer to show up, buy a large chunk of land in a rural county, and by waving around a lot of money, jump over all guidelines that have been carefully put in place over time to protect the environment, the public interests, and various long-term relationships and interest in the area is unconscionable.
Not only sets the precedent for other innovation zone applicants, but any other unserious approach to governance for the benefit of billionaires.
It's about ego, not the long-term benefit for Nevada.
Considering how close Governor Sisolak of Nevada was with Jeffrey Berns and how much the legislature seemingly wanted to pass the innovation zone law, I assumed the frustration and anger from citizens would largely fall on deaf ears, but I was wrong. In fact, the innovation zone proposal was never voted on. Instead, it was denied before it ever had a chance to get off the ground. Knowing this, it felt right to go back to Reno, back to Blockchains LLC, back to Storey County to speak to Sam Toll and one of the commissioners of the county, Clay Mitchell. So this is my second desperate attempt to reach a single individual from Blockchains LLC. The first trip ended less in disaster than in an empty feeling, like being ghosted by a date you connected with. Incomplete. This time, I make sure to go and visit Blockchains offices in the middle of the week, and I leave the Reno casino I'm staying at early in the morning to be sure I'll stumble into employees. And lo and behold, when I arrive, there's 5 cars in the parking lot, or roughly 4 more than the first time I went. I knock on the large glass front door, though I can clearly see there's no one manning the reception desk. And a moment later, a gentleman going by the name of Chris, wearing a very bright yellow shirt that proclaims "In Dogecoin We Trust," cracks the door open.
Can I help you?
Hi, I'm a journalist with Protos Media. We've been trying to reach anyone from Blockchains for a while. We haven't heard back from anybody, so I was hoping to stop by and see if there's anyone I could speak to.
Yeah, everybody's remote today.
Everyone's remote today.
Yeah. Tuesdays would be a good day to come.
He isn't exactly forthcoming, and when he announces that no one will be in the office, no one at all, until 6 days later, when I definitely won't be in Reno anymore, my mind begins to race.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Tuesdays are good? What does that even mean?
I don't know. I mean, well, it's the day after Tuesday.
Yeah, that's what that means.
How convenient for them that there isn't a soul who can speak to a journalist this week, or for the past 8 months, for that matter. Chris gives me an email for a communications representative, and we try for the 4th or 5th time to email someone at Blockchains.
You gonna reach out to Melissa? Michelle?
Sure, she's not going to get back to me. Nobody here has.
Should we come back again tomorrow?
No, because what? Like, it'll be the same excuse. I'm gonna to ask Bennett, hey man, can you email? Shocking to exactly 0 people, they fail to respond. It's really unfortunate that I think part of our responsibility, our duty with this story was to chase these people down and get answers from them. And so it's been very disheartening that not only have I gone there twice to meet up with these people because they refuse to respond to us via phone or via email in any way, but even when I've gone there twice, the end result is they still are able to ignore us. Like I talk to someone right there and the guy just tells me, oh, yep, nobody's working. And I'm like, okay, well, I see 5 or 6 cars in the parking lot. You're standing right here. And you're telling me no one's working and no one can talk to me about anything that's going on. I'm sure Jeffrey Berns was there also. I saw his car again. So I know they were all there. They just don't want to talk to us. And I think it's not only us they don't want to talk to. They don't want to talk to anybody.
No, they don't. No. We've emailed the governor's office and called the governor's office several times. We've emailed and called Blockchains Inc. We've emailed Lance Gilman. We've emailed the development company nominally behind the Tahoe Reno Industrial Complex. And no one wants to talk about any of these things. There's hundreds of millions of dollars flying around and no one wants to talk about it. And nominally, they still have projects going on, right? Like in Jeffrey Berns' last letter to Governor Sisolak and to the committee saying that they were withdrawing their support for the Innovation Zone bill, which is a fascinating letter that everyone should read. In it, there's a couple of fascinating parts. At one point, Jeffrey Berns says to Governor Sisolak that after your public and private assurances, we expected more support on this or something to that effect, which is fascinating because it leaves open the question of what private assurances did Governor Sisolak give Jeffrey Berns about the Innovation Zone. But the other valuable part of the letter is that Blockchains Inc. describes 2 projects they're still actively working on. Their autonomous vehicle testing suite out on the land where they were going to build the Painted Rock Smart City, and their work to get set up with their identity management solution at Genubank, formerly Kirkwood Bank, that Jeffrey Berns had bought. We have been unable to get updates on the status of either of those projects, but assuming that Blockchains Inc. was telling the truth to the committee and Governor Sisolak, you would think that knowing we were doing a podcast about their failed city, they would want to come on and explain how they were still dedicated to doing these important technical tasks that they're describing to these politicians and stuff. But for some reason, they don't want to describe these projects that we can't get an update on or find any evidence of.
What we're saying is that the Blockchain City project, this cryptocurrency oasis out in the high Nevada desert, that dream is dead. But Blockchains LLC or Blockchains Inc., whatever, that isn't dead. It's gasping, trying to survive on hopium, blockchain identity solutions, and automated driving systems. That's fine, but it's also not compelling. However, Berns and Blockchains LLC have left an indelible imprint on the future of innovation in Nevada, maybe even the U.S. And whether Bennett and I want to admit it or not, there's still an echo, repercussions far and wide from the tens of thousands of acres Blockchains LLC purchased, affecting hundreds of thousands of people. The idea that blockchains are the future of governance. So we're going to focus on that. On the new proposed blockchain pilot project in Reno, Sam Toll pushing back and winning against one of the Blockchain City's biggest proponents, Lance Gilman. And lastly, the concept that while other businesses and people like Praxis Society and Acon try to accumulate venture capital and government subsidies to create the exact same thing as Jeffrey Berns and Blockchains LLC, perhaps the Blockchain City already exists and has been doing perfectly fine on its own for years now. Join us again as we venture to Nevada and explore. This is Innovated, Blockchain City.